Okay, so here's why if you're dealing with someone who only focuses on insurance products, you have to be extra especially careful about thinking of them as your advisor or giving advice. So I have the licenses to do insurance products and have used them over the years. So somewhere between 15 and 20% of my um, the assets I take care of for people or help them with are insurance related vehicles. So I'm not completely ignorant of them. I don't dismiss them out of hand, but there's a lot of in fact, I get a little bit frustrated. I'm a certified financial planner. I get frustrated when there's a automatic, people only do these things for the commission. They're terrible. Watch out for them. For any kind of vehicle that has some sort of guarantee attached to it. But then every now and then I come across a scenario where I see exactly why that advice or sort of talk is out there. Um, these things unfortunately get a reputation for a reason. So a lot of tools, investments, or insurance vehicles are used the wrong way for various reasons, bad incentive structures, et cetera, sometimes ignorance. But the set of investment/insurance products that has a guarantee either to protect principal and or to make your money last as long as you do, to have an income, lifetime income guarantee. They're very complicated, a lot of moving parts, but I think they can still be used very appropriately, depending on the circumstance and the specific instrument. But they're hard to explain, and that's um, a downside even for someone who really, really likes them. So unfortunately, they're not explained very well a lot of the time. I'm not sure I do the best job explaining all the ins and outs, but I try to give the pros and the cons. One of the cons is they're fairly high cost compared to a low cost ETF or index fund portfolio, which I also use often. And so they're costly and they're complicated. Again, some of the complexity is to be able to, it allows them to get the income for life no matter what, but the gotchas, what ifs are very important. So I talked to someone recently who had a fixed indexed annuity that he's had for about 3 years. And the reason we were talking was he's trying to figure out if it's worth getting out of it. And normally I would say, don't get out of something that's going to be a big cost to it. But this presented an unusually interesting example of why someone focusing on annuities, you got to be very careful about taking advice or taking their word for it. And what's interesting about this case is he didn't really. He talked to the advisor agent about the product that had a lot of security that appealed to him. He went to the agent advisor, asked questions. The advisor agent could not answer some of those questions. So again, big obvious red flag. So he called the insurance company himself and started asking questions, was able to understand more of the bells and whistles and how it worked. But apparently the insurance company said, wait a minute, are you an advisor? He said, no, I'm just a customer trying to understand this. And they stopped talking to him. Said, you need to talk to the advisor. That's red flag number 2. And so then this product that has security, principal protection, et cetera, also has a 12-year, 2 years, 12-year surrender period where there's a cost, fairly significant cost to get out of it. In the 12th year, it's still 4% of the original investment. In the first few years, it's over 10%. I believe it was 12% the first couple of years. So when it comes to these vehicles, some of the ones I've used have had a withdrawal penalty period if you don't hold it for at least 4 years, or in some cases at least 7 years. My clients would have paid a penalty. And I've had a couple here or there that did for various reasons. But the more I do this, the more I realize as long as you have a long-term plan and it fits and you understand the ins and outs, having your money not completely liquid for 7 years should not be a major catastrophe because it's a long-term plan. You only allocate to that investment the stuff you know you won't need for at least 7 years. And in these cases, usually it's a lifetime income that you're planning for. So you're trying to think the rest of your life that you're going to make withdrawals, not needing a big chunk at once. But 12 years and a 12-year surrender, 12 years with a 12% hit to get out, that's pretty steep. So that's kind of a third red flag. You've got to be real careful that you're 100% sure you want this thing, even with all the red flags considered. Then the biggest problem that he's really frustrated about, because he still did this even with knowing those three things ahead of time, or being aware of those three, what I would call red flags. The way those things, those products work is there's a calculation based on an index. You have to pick the index, and you have every year you can change it. But in looking at the terms of this contract, they are extremely limited on the upside, extremely. And again, most people that are in this world, advisors, know that. But if you can certainly spin it to make it sound attractive, and by the time the customer, the investor realizes this is not working the way I thought, in this case, he's 3 years into a 12-year penalty period, or he's stuck, essentially. If he gets out, it would cost him, I think it's 11%. So in his case, it's about $38,000 cost to get out of it. So that's obviously hard to stomach. He was looking for some thoughts on if it's worth doing that. And I think it's kind of a toss-up. He's going to have to make the final decision. But like I would offer you, I'm happy to talk through it because I love talking shop. In some cases, I'd say it's a home run to get out. In some cases, it's a home run to stay put. This one's a little trickier because he's looking for fixed instruments. So he's looking for something else that would pay. Now the interest rates are higher than they were 3 years ago. So he can get a fixed instrument that will be safe, not liquid again, because you're going to have it's a 7-year tie. But you can get a decent interest rate compared to 3 years ago. So he'll have to make the decision. But this is just a real life case study of, at some point as a professional, you think everybody knows to be very careful with this kind of instrument. But, as you get close to retirement and you're thinking, I want safety and security, this sounds great. I've done my homework. I've done my due diligence. He really prides himself on being a detailed person. But again, as I told him, you'll probably be okay because he's saved well. He has the ability to kind of wait it out if he wants to and take the income guarantee later, or take the hit, which hurts, take the hit in the balance of the account and do something better with it. So he'll be okay because he saves well, but you hate to make those mistakes. And if you can avoid them, again, happy to give my 2 cents. And what's in it for me? Well, again, the ego of helping people and people thinking I'm smart. And I'm trying to build the content of how to find a financial advisor so that over time I can sell a course or some other way to get compensated for the expertise. But as of now, in early 2024, happy to do it for free, a la Dave Ramsey, without the audience and the sponsorships and the empire that he's built. And I can do it on a more professional, specific level because I have the credentials that, despite his reach, Dave Ramsey doesn't have. Done phenomenal things, but he has no particular professional licensing in the field. So hope that case study helps. If you're considering a fixed annuity, I'm not opposed to them, but you have to be really sure of what you're doing because you might need to assume you're not going to make much money at all. Although this product in particular, I guess that's what made this so hard. This is from a smaller insurance company I've never heard of. It seems bad even for that suite of products. There are some that you can make some income, some interest. You might make 4 to 6% maybe if things go well. You're not going to have the upside of the markets in the long run. You at least protect the downside. I get it; it's appealing, but get a second or third opinion. And when in doubt, take your time and before you commit to anything for 12 years. It's not a marriage or a mortgage where you have an asset or something with a lot of upside to it. Just be sure, ask questions, ask me, reach out to someone you trust, take a friend or family member with you. So hope that helps and let me know if I can do anything for you. Thanks.